Okay. Okay, so you've been doing groundwork with him. So let's see what you guys have been doing. So we'll just do some of his yields and do some physical pressure ones, do some...
Kind of a setback with... Are we recording?
Yes. That's okay.
Where every time he takes a step back, am I supposed to pet him?
Not every time. Once you believe that he knows it, if for some reason he's struggling with it, you can go, yeah, no, you're right. You know, you can always offer reassurance, but don't over baby when you know they know. So why? What happened? He waited for a pet each time?
No, I was just being told to pet each time.
No, especially because he does actually know everything. This is almost like he's just going to summer school, like review. So I would say that you could ask him to back up to that green noodle and he should be able to do it before you say, good boy. Maybe while we're still in the review, you would do maybe 2 steps and then build on that. But yeah, not for every step at this point, no. Good?
I think this is where I was getting stuck because my last session with him, I was being told that I had to pet him every time, so I was stopping every time and then...
Okay, well, I'm going to change something anyway. Okay, so first off, when you're real up close, he can't hear you as well. So what I do is I drop it on the ground, holding just the popper, and then I wiggle it on the ground, and then if I have to, I'll get loud. Okay. Say, okay, good morning. And then say, I suggest you back up. I suggest you back up. I said, no, he wants to come forward. I know I scared you. You're fine, you're fine. There. I know, I scared you, you're fine.
So I should just start by holding the popper.
Yep, and then wiggle it on the ground in front of you, wiggle it on the ground in front of him. If you have to make the snap move, good. So I don't have to pet him every time, but I'm gonna pet him this time because I got a more deliberate march out of him. You're okay. And I want him to not be afraid.
I have a harder time with him than with Rain too because I always feel like I'm being mean to him. I just want to be nice to him. I feel so bad, but...
Well, the language has to be clear because you're meaner to him by doing a lot of stuff that's just numbing to their ears, so to speak. So if you do a lot of, and he doesn't get it, and you just keep doing it, and then before you know it, he's just going to be like, you're so boring.
Yeah.
But if you make it very black and white, like the fact that he's not paying attention doesn't mean anything to me. Like I'm the leader, he should be paying attention. And then see how I go right back down and say, oh, it's okay. Now we can do nice and light. Good. And I might even wait till he licks and chews before I go over and pet him because he had to really process, whew, that was there. And then I might gently approach him because he's not trusting me right now because I had to get very dominant. But he's likely to come with me when I back up. I can say that's far enough. I can say back up. So I'm not even having to, I'm just all body language and I'm snapping this at me, giving a little wiggle at him now, and I'm going to let him back away from me now. So I'm going to help him understand that I want him to go away from me. Again, I might wait for him to lick and chew just because it was a little intense. He asked me a question, I'm going to invite him in. Here. Good. Here. You're right. So this is all question, he's not sure. Good. One more. I haven't changed my body, but when I stand up, that means far enough. Hi. You good? Okay. Okay. Good. And then go ahead and when he takes one more step. Good. And now wait. Wait till he asks you. And then instead of inviting him to you, you're going to go up to him and pet him. That's kind of a half question. And he's losing the ability to ask it. There you go. Just go. He used that for, I would take advantage of it. It wasn't towards you, but. Now, what he just did is he just asked you if I can smell your breath. So while you were petting him, if you had just spoken real softly to him, he would have taken total advantage of that. So see if he offers that again, because he asked you. No, because you didn't let him. That's okay. Next time.
So is that a question that he's asking me
It's a connection he's looking for. So he was looking for like that added soothingness from the pet. That wasn't enough. So he was asking for a little bit more. You didn't recognize it, and then he didn't know if he was going to get in trouble for it, so he just didn't offer it again. That's all. He'll offer it again because he likes that. There. Good. And that may be all he needs. You know, he may not want to have a whole conversation, but, you know, and sometimes if you ate something that he's like, oh, my bad, never mind. But if, you know, generally speaking, if you smell like peppermint or something, they'll be like, oh, I'd like to smell you. Good. Okay. So the backup is a little, it's a little louder than it needs to be straight off. Okay, so you really do want to start kind of just doing it here. I took it up because he was dull from it. So, but if you can get him to just back up to this or to something simple like that, that's fabulous. So that's going to be your goal. So instead of always starting kind of full motion, try to start here. So that way they can learn, like he can learn on your body what happens first. Okay, so first she does this and then it gets louder and louder and louder. I should just back up to this. And then gradually, you know, you'll start to be able to really make subtle cues. Okay, I'll do one more backup because I want to give him an opportunity to talk to you again. So go ahead and ask him to back away. Yep, there you go. Nice, gently. Now under him. Now the snap. Go ahead, his snap. Give him a look of please back up. Give him more of a get back. You know, somebody just came in your room and you didn't want them in your room and you're going to charge the door to slam the door in their face kind of movement. So now go ahead and really step at him. I said, there you go. Good, now stop. Good. That's the perfect response that you want. That was very deliberate. Steps back. He's licking and chewing. He may not ask a question right now because that was a little more than he's used to from you, right? Because that was very clear. And his response was very clear. So now you can go up and pet him and approach him quietly because you had to get loud. There you go. Good. Good. He's not going to ask. That's okay. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and do his yields. So we'll do the front yields first. Good. Good. Good, nice. See, now by working on your backup first, you kind of said, by the way, we're going to use this. Okay? So good. So go ahead and do another one. Yep. Now walk into his space. Force him to, yep. One more. I'll take those. Good. Good. Very nice. One more. Yep. It's okay. Stay with him and stay with him to where you can kind of avoid that backing up. There you go. Yep. Good. Now, do you hear how heavy he's sounding on his feet? It's because he's not 100% sure. Okay, so they're like sticking to the ground and magnetically getting to the ground. You want him to kind of be like, yes, I know. You saw the last backup step that he had was a, yes, I get that. So those are the kind of steps you're going to look for. You're going to look for, oh yeah, I know what you want me to do. Okay, so that's going to be your goal, is to look for a more clear understanding of what you're asking for. Because right now, his he kind of, as soon as you come in, he drops his head a little bit and he goes into thought and he's trying, but he's not, he's staying kind of like barely crossing his feet, which is fine. I'm going to allow him to have it because he's sensitive. So we're kind of play with his sensitivity a little bit.
Is there something that I can do with my body language to be more clear with what I'm asking? Or should I just keep following through?
The only thing that I'm going to specifically want to change about your body language is square your shoulders. Give yourself that height. And be like, I'm coming through, okay? Because the more you give him that presence and the less they're in a crouchy kind of, because that looks sneaky. And because they know they can trust you, especially the horses here, they know that they can trust you. So they're not thinking you're suspicious. But they're also not believing that you're more than the dog meandering around in the paddock with them. You know what I mean? Like you want them to take you seriously. You're not just hanging out. So a more solid presence would be what I would change. I always tell people, imagine that you put a coat hanger in your shirt and you're kind of constantly being pulled up by your coat hanger. So that way you can always keep that presence about you, and then it'll make a huge difference in the way they respond to you. Do one more this side with that kind of presence. Like you're going to walk through him if he doesn't move. You don't have to your body will be loud. Your hands don't need to be loud. Your body will say, I suggest you move. Then your hands are there for support. Yep. There you go. It's okay. He's just a little confused at which he's supposed to do. Don't go forward, don't go backward. So he just hasn't there. A little bit. So he got a little tangled up there in his brain. And give him that one. Good. So he got a little puzzled. And that was because backing up was not being discouraged. You weren't putting a block on him. So he wasn't being discouraged, so he's starting to think, okay, maybe it has something to do with this. And then you actually wiggled when he was backing up. So then you reinforced that is right. So then he just kept thinking that part's right. So like if he's backing up a little tension, did you see like with Shanti when there were a couple times I couldn't take the tension out of the line because it would have changed the communication, but I allowed it to create tension. Yeah, as subtly as you can. You don't want to be a grab him. It can't be a grab. It has to be like, like you can run your hand up the line and then grip so that it stays tight in your hand. And then when he gets back on it, he'll find that resistance. But you got to make sure that like all your movements are very subtle so that he's just finding himself with a block instead of you grabbing him. Okay, that's going to make a huge difference. That one says one thing and one says something totally different. Yes. So you're going to want to be kind of at the point of the shoulder. And then even a little bit more to that side because he's more sensitive to backup. See, he's already protecting his side. It's okay. It's okay. Rub him and allow him. There you go. So that's how you can get him to believe that you're not in there to hurt him. And sometimes if he's really untrusting, you'll rub him and leave and come back. So that way you could say, see, and then he's licking and chewing on that because, he's like, oh, I'm supposed to move. So where you're standing now, as long as when you start walking into him, you're going to walk with his shoulders, not come out and around his nose. So if he starts backing up, stay with his shoulder. And then when he turns, you're going to move with the shoulder. Good? Yep, there you go. Yep. Now, if he were to back up, you're just going to back up with him. Good. Good. Now, follow his shoulder. Yep, there it goes. Yep. It's okay. Keep going. He's got an itch, but we're going to just work through it. Keep going. Okay. Yep, keep going. There. Good. I always feel like such a bully, but let me help him real quick. Because this is more of like, okay, here she comes now. Good boy. Okay, so I'm going to position myself like right here. Okay, so that way this hand can move his nose in the turn signal, which will eventually just be the turn signal, and this hand can move his shoulder. So I'm going to tell him I'm coming through. I'm coming through. Okay, and I want that response. So then I can say, but see, that's all I wanted, man. You know what I mean? Because if you don't get the sharp response, then you just dull them out.
Yeah.
So like, I'm coming through. Oh, look at that response. Right?
I guess I'm just afraid to get loud and
As long as balance,
Yeah.
love language and leadership. So I'm loving him to say, don't worry about it. I offered the language, but I also offered the leadership of, I suggest you move. And notice that if I was really being so loud that I scared him, he would have left. Notice how he rode that decision to leave. And he's like, oh, that's all? And that's what's cool too, is once you to the point to where they understand speaking these words, I'm not running with a sentence. I'm speaking just these words. So then they go, oh, it's a word, as opposed to, I don't really know what you're saying. It must be a whole sentence or a paragraph, right? So he chose to say, oh, I got the word. Okay, good boy. So go, yep, I was gonna say go up and pet him, because that, believe it or not, that approach was strong. When you walked up with purpose, but you could have scared him in that. I wouldn't have wanted you to go up passively by any means, but he definitely would have needed to be reassured that I was not coming in here to be rough with you. Okay. So give him the impression, I'm coming through. I'm just coming through. Keep going. Good? That's good. Good. So stop second guessing yourself, because you started and then you backed up.
Yeah, I thought he crossed over.
Yeah, well, it was actually when you started and then he hadn't even moved yet. Okay. You went, and then you weren't, like, it's like you readjusted yourself, but by doing that, you got to remember, he's reading every movement you're making, so that was an uncertainty. So why would he want to trust you if you seem uncertain? So just really, when you make the decision, like, you could stay out here away from him for a minute and a half if you need to just collect your whole thought and say, when I decide to pull out from this stop sign in front of that car, I'm not going to stop in the middle of the road and go, well, maybe not. You know, you're going to say, I've decided, now I'm going to go do it. So you got to give him that whole, I'm pulling out in front of you kind of impression, and that there's no hesitation, you're not going to let off the gas. Okay, so go ahead and try again. Go boy. It's okay if he's a little jumpy, because you're asserting yourself a little bit differently today. Good? There, much better. Much better. There you go. Good. Now wiggle. Now, I mean, rub. Now your hands, I'm not picking on you. Your hands are very soft in what you're trying to project. You're going like that. What you want to project is, I'm coming through. Okay, they can be quieter in how fast you move them, but the deliberateness, this way he doesn't ever wonder, are you coming to pet me? What do you want him to be like, he knows that you're saying, I suggest you move. Even when you do the turn signal, when I did Shanti for that whole circle, I was just going like this, but it was a very deliberate, I suggest you turn. So go ahead and try to, it doesn't have to be fast, it doesn't have to be abrupt, but notice how if I'm going like this and he doesn't move, I can turn it into this. And nothing really changed but the volume. But if I come in soft, like I might come to pet you, but I said move, now you're being a jerk. You know what I'm saying? See how that's a different story? Okay. Yeah, there you go. There you go. There. Good, now pet him. Good. Okay, so now we're going to come back in the camera. Goodness, do you find a hole to trip in? Okay, go boy. Yeah, so go boy. Okay, so we'll do this side. There you go. Good. So next time, don't give him until he's fully, it was good, and then he took those steps back, and you were still in the process of releasing him. So the release is what teaches. So when you released him, you actually release the back up. So you want to come and say, cross, cross, and then you can pet him. So instead of turning it cross, cross, and then a pet, you want to make sure that you release, and then you pet him.
So if he's still backing up, I want to keep on through.
You want to keep going till you get the movement you're looking for. Always release on the movement you're looking for. That's okay, he's not paying attention, just get in there. Yep, 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 yep. Keep going, there. It's okay. Because your release was strong, and it was good, because we want him to see the difference, because it wasn't black and white before, and now he even switched his tail. You're like, that was a lot. Now you can pet him. Yeah, see, now you can reassure him that, see, it wasn't being mean. Black and white isn't mean. Actually meaner to be passive and then aggressive. Good boy. He's looking for reassurance. Good boy. He's like, is it still you? Okay. Yep. I'm coming in. Turn. I'm coming in. You better move. I'm coming. I'm telling you, I'm coming. That's okay. It's okay. You got sideways. That's okay. Because he got a little overwhelmed. And I think maybe the girth hand or the shoulder hand was more of a girth hand. So he ended up going sideways. Okay? So I think that kind of got away from you a little bit. Good boy. Now, I'm going to correct one thing, because he's offered it so many times and you're not seeing it, and that's okay, is I don't want him to get punished for it, is all I'm going to say, is when you drop the line and you take that step back to get ready, you notice he's coming with you. Don't punish him for that, because he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. When you back up, he should come to you. He should always draw to you. So the other way you could do it is kind of like put a little wiggle in the line just so he knows he's not supposed to come with you. If if he follows you and then you just pet him and say, that's okay, and then you could just start kind of there if you need to. But I just didn't want him to get in trouble for doing what he should do. No, I just want to make sure you don't, because I know you're trying to get away from him to set up. So I don't want you to be like, no, stay there. I gotta, I just don't want him to be wrong for something he should be doing. See, that's all natural, what he's doing. Good.
So I can still start.
Yep, there you go. Just walk in there. Yep, there you go. Good. It's okay that he backed up. We'll work on that. So when you walk in there, I just want to come close enough, but I don't want to scare him. When you walk in there, plan on just like your belly button's gonna hit the gusset here, and you're just gonna drive like your belly button's a plow, and you're gonna just try to plow that way. So that's the kind of impression. You're like, I'm coming in, and he needs to shift his body that way, because if you stay too much in front of him, you're gonna keep backing him up, and if you plan to follow him around, you're going to also back him up. But if you give him the impression that I'm coming through and your shoulder's in my way, you better move your shoulder. Because we're actually driving his shoulder. We're driving his shoulder because we want those front feet to move. The head just helps him understand direction. Yep, there you go. Yep. And help him with his nose, because now his nose needs the direction. So send his nose this way. So it's just, you need to just add a little more to the nose. It's okay. So unfortunately, all of that just released his confusion. Yep, there you go. Yep, keep going. There. Good. And he needed a lot of reassurance, because a lot of that looked different than he's been trying to understand. So he got kind of, okay, so imagine my hands are his head and my arms are his neck. He got kind of like, I'm not sure. And because he got so I'm not sure, and he was doing a lot of this and his whole body was involved, that was a lot of evasion. So what you wanted to do is to say, no, 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 no. It has nothing to do with your ribs. It has to do with your head and your shoulders. So what was broken was the head. You know, I am telling you to focus on the shoulder, but the head has to have sense of direction. So you got to go back to saying, oh wait, what's not following around? His shoulders are going good. So we need his head to understand so he can make that full pivot. Yep, yep, there you go. Head, a little more head, a little more head, a little more head. There, good. Notice how different he did that for you? He did it quietly, he did it responsively, and he did it knowingly, right? So that as soon as you said, oh wait, no, it has a little more to do with your head, he's like, oh, okay. You know, the feet, we can work on how crisp that is, but he got really lost for a while there. Okay, let's do another one because he got so lost. Oh, very good, very good. Keep going, he's got it. Oh, back, wiggle, 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 wiggle. Good. There you go. Excellent. Stop. Oh, I wouldn't have done the wiggle only because he was struggling so much that was almost a punishment because it wasn't gentle. It made the snap move. Okay, one more, just so we can let him be a hero. Yep. Keep going in. 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 Good. Now. Good. There you go. So you did it right. So I'm trying to reward that is because a couple times when you wanted to release quickly, you were abrupt about it, which I know it's a weird balance. It's all about really like controlling your body. So I want you to be like, you're right. And that was perfect what you did. You came down with deliberate, but you came down like you had a little resistance. Because that way you told him that's good, but I'm not mad at you. You know? Because too quiet, it's like, it's too blurry. Too loud's too loud. So you know, Goldilocksing it. Okay. So we're gonna go move on to the hind yields. And I know he's sensitive to the hind yields, so that they shouldn't be hard at all. Good boy. And always reward him following you, stopping with you. You know, all the mirroring, even if it seems stupid. My horses are, you know, his age, and I still reward all the good stuff. Good boy. Good? Good. Oh, there's a little forward going on. Good. The only other thing I'm going to say in that case is keep your 12 inches in case you need it. Because if you needed it and you had to stop, so in other words, keep that little piece of rope still in your hand. Because if you needed it and now you have to stop to gather up your rope, you had to stop the cue and said, it's okay if you just stand there, I'll be right back. You know what I mean? You may not need it, just have it in case you need it. There, good. Good. Nice, good boy. So also be careful that you don't use the wiggle just for stop if he's not going forward, because he's not going to understand that, he'll back up. So, and we're having a little bit of a backing up problem, so let's not encourage that in this, because he's not doing it. Good. So we'll do the other side. You know, no reason to drill something that's working. Good. Good. That was the right thing to do. Good? Good? Good. There, that was very nice, that last one. So, might be introduced. I know. Can you imagine how hard that is? So is he, I, haven't seen him in so long. Is he okay with cones and stuff like that?
I'll probably look at them, but I'll be with them. I'm done with that.
Well, I didn't want to bring a whole pole.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you give something that you've just done purpose. So I don't care which side you want, which side he felt he was better at. I didn't really feel he had one side better than the other. Have him start with his tail to the cones off to the side, back. When his front hoof gets to the second cone, step out, turn him on an L, and back him away from the cone just so enough that he can stop, and then offer him a chance to look at that last cone. So I'll walk you through it. You see a lot of videos where I'm like, okay, I do the whole course for the kids. Okay, so we're going to have him back up. So you use your back up. When his front legs get to here, you're going to yield his hind end, back him away until he has an opportunity where he's at an angle where he can look at the cone, so you can give him a chance to look at the cone. We're not going to let him look at the cones in advance because I want him to learn to be brave when we ask him to do things he doesn't understand. Then when you're done, say, now you can look at it. But thank you for trusting me, kind of thing. You may need to be, where he can't go right beside him. You may need a bubble between him and the cones, but that's okay. Good, nice, good use of that. Little communication there on his part because he's worried. He knows those cones are there. So he knows those cones are there. That's why he's doing that. So you might be biting off a little too much to go too close to him. So you can have him come over here and then make the turn. You might have to have him back up a lot more because he's not going to want to go near these on this side either. So sometimes you have to just play with what their bubble is. I don't want him to look at him because I want him to trust you. And you're not going to build trust by doing too much of letting him do all the investigating himself. He's got to learn to trust you. Sometimes you'll never be able to take him on a trail ride without hand walking it first. Good. So that's perfect. He's not needing any more than that. So you're going to ask him to back up. Yep. There you go. Yep. Good. Keep going. Good. Now, pause. Run your hand down that line so you can take a hold of his nose. You're going to run the other hand. Yep. And now you're going to step out and ask his tail to move. Yep. And wiggle if he comes forward because he's going to be a little confused why you're doing it from so far away. Wiggle if he comes forward because he's thinking about coming forward, just so you know. Yep. Give him a second. He's thinking. Good. There you go. Back up. Good. Back. Yep. And now it's gentle again. It's not a correction. Good. Yep. Back. Keep going. Back. Yep. He's just asking. So just get a little bit louder so he can get the answer. Yep. Now you can go quiet again. Back. He's asking again. Get a little bit louder. It's okay. Yep. Back. So too much delay is going to keep him confused. Back. Good. Back. One more. Back. Good. Oh, he's remembering something I did with him years ago. That's actually kind of cool. Okay, give him a second. Take a step towards him so that he has the freedom in his rein there, and allow him to actually take one more step. Ask him to take one more step back so that his nose is a little bit closer to being able to investigate that cone. Back, and quit. Allow him to investigate the cone. He will. He doesn't know if he has permission to. You can, buddy. So like in a case like that, when you're trying to offer him something that you know he will want to do, you can ask him to take that other front foot that's leading there and ask him to take that foot back equal with he might do it anyway. Equal with the other foot, just to kind of put a little more like in the brain, because by moving their feet sometimes you can get their brain to move. Okay, now definitely. Yep. And wait. Okay, now ask for that little half step. Yep, and wait. We don't want them to, let's see, I'm just going to kind of like talk him so he can have a moment. We don't want them to override their curiosity, because they can't be curious if they're scared. So we always want to encourage curiosity. And that's kind of why I'm doing this exercise with him, because I want him to find that curiosity and go, I know that cone's there. I don't want to look at it though. So we're trying to encourage this curiosity. Go ahead and ask him to take a half step back again. Yep, leave him alone. He's like, oh, just take a nap then. He's just processing. I know it seems like forever, but once they start processing stuff, that's actually good to see. He's not. It looks like he's relaxing and falling asleep, but he's actually kind of shutting down on us a little bit. There we go. Because he's uncomfortable. Because he can feel both of us kind of staring on him. He doesn't know what to do, but he knows standing still is not going to be punished. But he doesn't know what to do. Ask him to back up, because going forward was not the right answer. Good. So he's kind of like he's having a little mental stir. Now what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you, from where you are, point to me, okay? Don't do it yet. Point to me, and then offer support out here, and see if you can't get him to bring his nose my direction. Good. Leave him alone. That's what I wanted. Good. Okay, now walk away. Take him with you, walk away. Good. What you just did is you granted him permission to not have to be scared. Okay? And through explaining it to him, because that's what you did when you said, put your nose that way. He just needed a little help to be allowed to be curious. But that's stuff like that is going to improve your relationship amazingly. Like where you can like pick a spot on the fence there and be like, I want your nose on the middle rail, in the middle of the middle rail. And then like with great instruction, you can make that exact spot where he'll put his nose on it. And all that kind of stuff's going to help both of you. Okay, so we'll go ahead and tack him up. Good boy. And then I'm going to show you how to get him to get comfortable with the reins. But I want it all kind of like, I want all the connections so we can help him through the whole thing. I'm actually going to stop the video for this one, and then we'll start it back up.